Test. Hey, vegan cyclists here. So this is a group race ride, where we all race out to a destination, turn around, and race back. And we come in pretty late. We've already established a little breakaway from this group, but what's crazy about this and what I wanted to show you is that it's 3 versus 1. This team, Fulton, really works well together, and they are doing everything they can to get one guy to win. I mean, they're going to work hard. And so it's 3 versus 1, and it was some interesting tactics. So let's talk about their team real quick. So you've got Joe Booth. He's a time trial specialist. This guy can go long. He was a district champion at one point. Jamin, who's kind of just like all around. He can go long. He can make his surges. He's got an okay sprint. And then they've got Alex, who is like the opposite of Joe. His sprint is massive. He's like a pure sprinter. So if they use their team against me, which I'm good at Chipotle and YouTube, you know what I mean? I'm gonna have to use all of my techniques and really be tactical if I'm gonna try to best this 3-headed dragon, right? Because if they ride well, if they ride smart, there's virtually no way I could beat them, because they can go long, they can go short, they can go medium distance. I'm trying to hang out on the back of all 3 of them, and they don't really let me do that, because they are already starting to plot against me. You can see right here, they're like, dude, let's rip the legs off. And I'm kind of thinking like, man, all right, let's play. And so this is Alex right here. He's their pure sprinter, and he's the guy that's going to get the free ride. On the way out, it's kind of climby, and so he's going to be the one that's going to hurt the most. Joe Booth right here, he's their time trial specialist, and you cannot let him get a gap. Like, seriously, if there's any gap, if we're going watt for watt, I'm not going to cover him. I'm not going to be able to chase him down. Now, Alex kind of weasels his way back in here, and this is what he was doing to me the whole way out, is that he would start to create this little gap and to try to give Joe Booth. And you see Joe Booth like looking around like, do I have a gap? Do I have a gap? Because Joe doesn't have the surge or the snap, but dude, if you give him any leash, he is gone. There's no way I'm going to be able to catch him. So then we've got their third guy, which is Jamin, and he's kind of like their, all-around rider. Like, he can ride breakaways, he's got a decent sprint, and he's kind of more like endurance, right? And so I've got to ride as far up front as possible without obviously being on the front. And so with Alex dropping me off, I can't be on third wheel because I'm going to have to keep covering these gaps. But I have to be able to, respond to any little effort. Now, again, we are headed out to like a climb, and then kind of it just rolls. And so their sprinter, Alex, right here, he's going to have trouble staying on. So he keeps trying to do this to me, right? He like gets in there, and right here I'm talking to him like, dude, seriously? And how hard are you going to play this game? And so he's like, looks like he's, I'm struggling. Dude, you're not struggling, bro. So he's like winning the Emmy for acting here, but he's opening up these gaps, and he's making me, put a little bit of effort into covering that, because he is not going to do any work. Like, he's going to be the guy that sits on the back. So right before we get to the big hill, not a big hill, it's like a minute effort. You've got Joe, and then Jamin starts to come. Now, up in the right are my matches. I didn't really want to do this ride. So when I rode up to them, they're like, oh, come on. I wasn't feeling great. Usually I've got like 10 matches. This ride, I only have 2. So I gotta use those pretty sparingly. So we hit this little hill, and again, it's about a minute 20 effort, something like that. Usually when I'm on this ride, I light it up, because there's never a breakaway. A breakaway doesn't ever work because there's a stoplight. And so everyone comes back together, but we hit the green light, and so our breakaway stuck. And again, usually on this, I would be like 700 watts to the top. But I cannot be in a position where I get countered. And so I've got to kind of just surf the wheels here, and try to look at what they're doing, and just really pay attention, because if I go super hard, they could just let me go and then work as a team to bring me back. Now, Jamin kind of starts to fall back, and I push him back into the spot. Like, watch, I grab his butt, and I push him back in there so that I can kind of get a little bit of a recovery and just let him fill that in. And I did the same thing with Joe here. Just like, I'm not letting you guys drop off, man. I'm not filling those gaps. You guys are gonna fill those gaps. And so, yeah, we kind of just cruised up this. This was probably the easiest I had ever gone up this hill when doing these rides, because usually it's just as hard as you can go over the top. And I mean, it's definitely hard. Like, my heart beats 196. So it's not easy by any means. But so then we crest over the top. And I go ahead and I pull a little bit. I go to the front just a little bit. I'm not really. There was just, I don't know. It wasn't going to be. I didn't want to completely stop, because I do want cohesion in this breakaway. I do want this to succeed. I don't want it to just come back together. But these guys are plotting on me hard. They are talking to each other, and they're really good at this. Like, this is what they excel at. So there's another little kicker right here, and usually guys go super hard, and I'm just sitting on their wheels. I'm not gonna let them do that. But then Joe goes, he starts to go, and I'm so getting a bad spot. Joe's up the road, Alex goes in here, and now Alex is not gonna chase Joe. He's gonna go fast enough to kind of discourage, but now I'm blocked. Dude, I'm totally blocked in. And I'm like, oh no, this is not good. Because if Joe gets over this little crest, gone. Done. It's over. Those two dudes aren't chasing. So you can see already how much distance it is. So I burn a match because I have to, right? And I've got to go now. I've got to go over the top, or I have to get to him before over the top, right? So this little climb, this little 5%, deal is going to help me cover this distance. Because dude, Joe can just hold a massive amount of watts for a long time, and if he hits the flats, like I said, he's gone. So I gotta burn this match, and this was my bad. I didn't have to burn this match. I just kind of, I wasn't paying attention, and he rode away, and his team blocked for him. And so, bummer, right? I burned that match, and now I hit 200 beats per minute. My heart rate's through the roof right now. But here's the thing, is that we dropped their sprinter. During that little effort, Jamin went with me, but Alex got popped. And so they're not going to drive the pace right now, because they're going to wait for their sprinter to get back on. And I'm like, oh man, I really would like for him to not be here. So I go to the front and I start to put down at least some bit of power. Like, I got to put something down. Maybe just to discourage Alex from chasing at all. But I don't want to just be sitting on the front. So, I let them go to the front. They're looking back. They're waiting for their sprinter, Alex, and he gets back on. And as soon as he gets back on, Joe kind of starts to ramp it up on this little descent, like a little downhill, right? Which is awesome for me, because I'm doing 36 miles an hour at 0 watts, right? So I'm trying to recover, because that match I burned. As soon as Alex gets us, bam, he attacks, but it's just like a kind of a dummy attack, or he's hurting super bad, because that was the perfect time to attack, but he was having a hard time. So then Jamin's like, dude, you're off the team. What was that? Like, that was a horrible attack, dude. He goes to the front, and then Alex is super bummed that he didn't impress his team. So then he goes again, and this time his effort is a little more consistent. But again, this is not his MO, right? Like, Alex doesn't go long. He goes short and super duper hard. And so, but he's trying to help his teammates, and I'm looking at him like, I'm pretty sure you're not going to make it to the finish, just because of how he was feeling. But still, it doesn't matter, dude. If he makes it to the finish, there's 0 chance I'm going to out sprint him. And then as soon as his effort kind of slows down, you get another attack. Like, I'm getting just attacked so many times. And even though I haven't been burning like big matches, dude, I've hit 1,000+ watts, 4 or 5 times so far. And so that's just like killing my legs, man. And they just keep doing this to me. They keep counterattacking. And so then Joe goes, okay, but then we get a huge gap, and Alex and Jamin are dropped. And so then I counter his counter, and I'm thinking, this is it. I'm burning a match. I'm going all in because their whole team is just spread out. Like, they're completely blown apart on the road. And I end up hitting like 200 and 202 beats per minute right now. I am burning my match hard. And I think this is it, right? I'm maybe a mile from the finish. And I've used their attacks against them. The bummer is that they kind of came together. So I burned my match. They come back together, recover, and then as a team bring me back, just because this is my weakness. I cannot surge and then sustain. You can see my heart rate just holding at 202, and so I was not able to stay away. And so then I'm kind of having to make a decision on just keep going hard. So I kind of shut it down because I can't have them attack. If they counterattack me, if they caught me, and I was still, redlined, they'd all drop me. So Joe Booth goes to the front and he's drilling it, and Jamin's on my wheel. And so I'm in a bad situation because I just burned my second match. Joe is submerging right now, and Jamin's on my wheel. And if I let Joe go, no one's gonna chase him. So it's all up to me to basically stick on Joe's wheel. Jamin's gonna stick on my wheel, and it's gonna come to the final sprint. And look at my heart rate. It's like 198, and it was now 199. And dude, I'm dying. Like, just holding 490 watts on his wheel after making, burning that second match of mine. It's I kind of can feel the writing on the wall. I just don't know what Jamin has in him because he did get dropped earlier. So I start to sprint, and Jamin's actually on my right side, and I'm trying to block him against the dirt a little bit. But dude, I don't even have a match to burn on this, right? I mean, I did like max 600 watts in that sprint, so dang it, man.
You suck.
Okay, so they got the best of me in that one. I got second, but whatever. So now we're turned around, we're going back the other way, and this one's a little more difficult for me because it's downhill to flat. And so there's another sprinter actually in this group that's Curtis, who's super strong. He's like a Masters rider, and he's got some teammates in here as well. And then, dude, Joe Booth and Jamin just light it up right here because this is the last little climb. I think it gets up to like 2% or something, right? It's not. Anyway, I'm burning a match to stay with them because obviously I cannot let them go. I got to stay on their wheels. But this is really the last time that anyone that is not a sprinter has any sort of chance to get away. But most of the time in this group, you're not going to make a breakaway from this far out. But what was amazing is that their sprinter, Alex, he helped create this gap. He didn't chase it down because there was another sprinter in that group as well. So he kind of helped this establish. So it's 2 versus 1 now, and they have a teammate in the group, that Alex, which I really don't want it coming down to a sprint for sure because it's super flat. So I am motivated to help with this move and keep working with these guys. So I do, a turn or two. We kind of come to this little bit, and so this is like, I don't know, 2% or something. It's 3. And so I give a pretty good little dig because the group is chasing us really hard. And so I'm not really burning a match here, but I'm going in. I'm going pretty good. I want this breakaway to establish and for us to stay away because there's sprinters, 2 really strong sprinters back in the pack. Now, I'm kind of just sitting on their wheels and surfing, but I sort of feel that they made a big mistake here, which is that their pure sprinter is in the group. So if we get caught, you know what I mean? Like, it's more on me. Like, I stand more to gain for this break to succeed than they do. So I kind of feel like they did a little bit too much work here. They sort of could have just said, dude, we're not making a single pedal unless you really work hard. And so, I don't know, that was kind of a big mistake. Jamin here, he's drilling it, and we haven't really been having any attacks, and the group is chasing, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the front here, give a little bit of a pull, And right as I do, Joe decides that he's gonna throw down, an attack, which again, he's more the long game, but he's gonna test and see, do I have legs to go with him? But this put his other teammate Jamin in a spot of bother, right? Jamin actually gets dropped. Joe's looking back and looking around, making sure, oh, dude, I dropped my teammate. And so then he waits for Jamin to come back. As soon as Jamin gets on the back onto the group, he goes to the front and starts making pace. But again, this is probably where they shouldn't have done that, right? Because it would have forced me to work hard to stay away from the pack with two huge pure sprinters. And then all of a sudden, Joe, again, just trying to get greedy, I guess, is because as soon as I hit the front, and right after Jamin made a pull, Joe snaps again and puts in a good dig. And this really dropped Jamin. Jamin was way off the back. And so Jamin's having to claw back onto this. And obviously, I'm not going to do anything, right? I'm just going to, dude, you're dropping your own teammate. And I know that I can out-sprint Joe. So if you want to go all the way to the finish, you want to take me to the finish, let's for sure do that. All right. And so then he kind of just eases up, waits for Jamin to get back on. And now we're in the last K, right? And so he starts to do his lead out. And I have a match to burn now. Because before I didn't, on the way out, I burned both my matches. So here I snap, I go, Jamin's on my wheel, but dude, he's had to use his matches just to get back onto our little breakaway. And so finally I'm hitting 1,000+ watts in the actual final sprint. Jamin is right next to me, but boom, I get it. I mean, it was close. He was right there, but he just didn't have the legs, very similar to what happened with me on the way out. Kind of happened with him. He just didn't have the matches. I hope you guys enjoyed this, man. It was a super fun time doing 3 vs 1. And as always, Vegan Cyclist, yeah!